Okay, welcome to the March 23rd Thursday chat. We have a few announcements before we get to Matt. Charlie Small. Charlie Small. Okay. Benita
Jerry,
Moore.
Okay.
Jerry, it's Christina. I'll make the announcement for Charlie if that's okay. Charlie was just going to talk about our Guess Who program on. Oh, go ahead. I see Charlie now. Go ahead, Charlie. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I was having trouble unmuting. So I just wanted to remind everybody that April 1st, with Community Life and Hospitality, we're going to have a Saturday program, Guess Who? And that means guess who you are, who your neighbors are, and what we've requested pictures of those of you from 15 to 30. And it's going to be a fun afternoon. We're going to have sweets and treats. We are still accepting photos for another week. And if you could send them to Christina Rice or drop them off at Joe's desk with names, we'd appreciate that. And we hope that all of you who've submitted will come and have fun with the rest of us. That's it.
Thank you. Benita Ross.
Hi, Jerry. Thank you. I just wanted to take a minute, not the entire hour, which I could do, to thank everyone who made the Scholarship Fund raffle such a success, particularly Bonnie Rosenberg and Sandy Sherizan, who were phenomenal chairs. Everybody who sold tickets, everyone who purchased a ticket. We made over $40,000 this year, which is absolutely extraordinary. We're so pleased that we were that successful. It was a wonderful experience this year. I hope everyone had a good time. Everybody who worked on this, I think, came away feeling not only good about their participation, I hope, but also about how well we did in terms of raising money for the Scholarship Fund. At this point, we will be, in the next week or two, be opening up the application process for our employees. We are welcoming applicants, and we will begin the process of actually fielding the applicants, and then in the summer, we will be making the awards based on the funding that we have raised as a community. So thank you so much. We could not do this without an incredibly supportive management from one end to the other, and this community has made it happen. And I hope that you'll also take a look at the wonderful video that Bob Mesnick made of the finale raffle drawing. It was wonderful. Larissa has put it up online. I think I sent it out to the community as well. A thank you, and look forward to next year and seeing how we do next year. So thank you, Jerry.
Okay, you're welcome. Carol Marlin. Carol? Okay, we'll get back to you. Betty Shapiro.
Thanks, Jerry. I've got another thank you for the community. This one's from the Volunteer Outreach Committee. And this is for the treasure trove of Lucky Mix that we delivered to Jewish Child and Family Service on Tuesday. It was a smaller than usual collection period, but we managed to get almost as much as we normally do. And this morning I happened by the collection box and I noticed that there were a few boxes in there, which that's our start for our Rosh Hashanah Lucky Drive. So thank you one and all on behalf of all of those people that you're going to really help make a happy holiday for. Thank you.
Okay, Bob Orkin.
Thanks, Jerry. I just want to remind everyone that on February 28th at 2 p.m. in the synagogue, there will be a first program that was planned by the Newbridge Interfaith Planning Committee. And this particular program will be on the 3 Abrahamic traditions. There will be a short video followed by a presentation by me on Passover and Sharon Gavea on Easter. So everyone is invited, and we hope we will see many of you there.
Bob, the date couldn't be right. What was the date?
March 28th.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Once more, Carol Marlin.
Yes.
I see you on.
Okay, thanks. I think, can you hear me now, Jerry?
Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
good. Fine. This was a suggestion, a mutual suggestion, talking to Larissa, that sometimes after watching a provocative, wonderful movie, being alone and not having spent decades with someone to share the experience, it's sometimes frustrating not to have the few minutes after a movie to say, wow, that really was something, and just hear someone else's comment. So we thought that maybe this Wednesday, Larissa said it's a very provocative, wonderful movie called Living, and it's starting at 7:30, and it will be shown in our theater as well as in our homes, and hopefully in Channel 918.
Right.
And it's based on a Tolstoy story and a novel, and it is based on a 1952 movie by Akira Kurosawa, the wonderful director, Japanese movie producer of Rashomon, and it should be a very provocative movie. And even we're going to watch it and then maybe talk about it for 10 minutes after the movie. And if you'd like to have that experience, join me next Wednesday, or this coming Wednesday at 7:30 in the theater. Thank you.
In the theater, right?
In the theater.
Okay, thank you. We have a question from Evelyn Bodkin, and then I see Marlene Yesli and David Rader afterwards. Okay, Evelyn.
It's not a question. I wanted to make a comment about the scholarship fund. There's been so much excitement about the raffle. I just wanted to remind people that you can donate anytime in any amount of money, aside from the raffle. They're collecting money all year round, and $40,000 hopefully is only a start to what they will collect this year. So I just wanted to throw that in case people didn't realize that there's much more to this than just the raffle.
Thank you. Marlene Yesli.
I have a question about Channel 918. It's for Larissa. Larissa, will we be able to see our 4:00 film group movie on 918 next Monday?
So, Jerry, is it a good time for me to give a bigger picture update? I think it will be easier
Okay,
rather than just doing it
go
in
ahead. Is
fragments.
that
Is it
okay,
okay?
David? Can you wait, David? Okay, go ahead.
All right. So thank you for the question, Marlene. So I'd like to give you guys an update of what's happening with the channel. And I'd like to share with you that the issues that we've been experiencing now is a much bigger issue than Newbridge. We are not the only one that experience the issue with the Channel 918 with the Internet Explorer. And the company that is servicing us, Shanahan, is working on finding alternatives to that. It's not a simple patch. It's not like the equipment has malfunctions. It's much bigger. And it will take them some time to come with the educated solution of what we can do. So meantime, what we are able to do, we are able to show movies in the movie theater. And this is what we're going to continue to do until we know the resolution. And another thing that we will be able to do, we will make an effort to record the programs like Jerry Weiner's or Residents Present on Monday, community-built, community-oriented programs, and we will make these programs available through our Newbridge YouTube channel. You will see, for example, tomorrow, we will send an email with links so you can watch Jerry Weiner's recorded chat of today, and some other stuff. And we will continue doing it till the resolution is found. This is my long way, Marlene, to tell you that I invite you to come to the movie theater to see your movie. And it's an opportunity for me to also invite all of you to come to many live programs that we have in afternoon and in the evening.
Okay.
Thank you, Larissa.
Thank you. So did you have anything else, Larissa?
Yes, I just also, thank you so much, Jerry. I just also wanted to mention that yesterday I sent out our April outings, and I encourage you to take a look at what we are offering in April. It is 3 outings, and we had to stay within 3 because of Passover. So we were mindful to the holidays, but I think it's a very good combination of things. One is a Dedham tour, and we're specifically offering this outing for our new residents, the one that just recently moved to Newbridge, so that they can learn more about their new hometown. And another one was inspired by the residents' request, and it is a private tour of the Edward Kennedy Institute with the lunch to follow and opportunity to discuss it. And the third one, we were having double of people who wanted last month to go to the Bernard's restaurant. So we are repeating that same dinner outing to give all interested an opportunity to go there. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's take David before.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Thanks, Jerry. Just a quick 30-second reminder of 2 things happening next week. The first is on Monday at 7:30 in Great Meadow Hall. This is a Meet the Candidates night. We have 13 confirmed people who are from Dedham who are running for town election, which is on April 8th. They're coming to meet you. They're coming to share with you their platform. So that's at 7:30, and they'll be staying afterwards. We'll have a nice little reception. The second one is next Thursday is opening day of the Red Sox, and we are looking forward to having a party in Great Meadow Hall. So we have fresh popcorn, soft pretzels, and any opportunity for us to gather in person and socialize is a good one. So even if you're not a Red Sox fan or a baseball fan, we hope to see you next Thursday. That's at 2 o'clock. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. We'll take Anna Marcus before we go to Rabbi Judy.
Thank you, Jerry. I was the only resident who went to the security training, and I learned CPR again, but I want to remind everybody of certain safety things that will be brought up at floor meetings too. Everyone should know his or her nearest exit. If you don't know, open your door and look and find it. 2, there are buttons, white buttons in the long hallways. Those all are emergency buttons. I didn't know that. That's what they are. We can use them. 3, you have a pull cord in your apartment, and if you are at any risk for falls, there are 5 to 6 falls a day. Get one of the wrist or lanyard buttons and wear it all the time, especially at night. And finally, update the sheets that are in your closet that have your, it's called profile face sheet. If you don't have one, Joe has them. You need to have your medications, your doctor, whom to inform if anything goes wrong. It needs to be updated every time you go to your doctor. Please grab it, check it. It could also have your healthcare proxy in it. Those are safety things that I was reminded of when I went to an excellent training by Brian, who works night security. Thank you.
Okay, and now Rabbi Judy Ehrlich.
Hello, everybody. I have 4 announcements to make. Some of them are, Larissa has already alluded to, and some not. So starting with the first one, and is that the deadline for signing up for the Passover Seders is tomorrow. So if you haven't done that yet and you are planning to attend at the Seder at Newbridge, please do so, because we want to make sure that you can be seated and that everything runs smoothly. The next thing is that the Shabbat service on Friday night will not be broadcast on channel 918. I won't tell you why, because Larissa already told you why. And so I encourage you to come downstairs in person if you can and be part of the community if that is something that feels comfortable and good for you. On Tuesday, I know that there is the interfaith program that Bob Orkand announced. And a little bit later in the afternoon at 3:30, there is the second part of the Enlighten the Shabbat service class, which is a two-part series. If you missed the first part, you can still benefit from the second part. It's a look at the liturgy and traditions of the Friday night service, and that will take place in the library with me. And on Wednesday at 11 o'clock, for the reason that Larissa told you, we're not going to be having the Torah study group on channel 918. And instead of just doing it on Zoom as we've been doing it so far, we're going to take a leap and move it back to in person in the Interfaith Chapel at 11 o'clock. So in the good old days, we had a room full of residents who engaged in feisty, interesting, at times even blasphemous conversations, and people enjoyed it. So I invite you to come back in person this week, Wednesday at 11 in the chapel. And those are my announcements for today.
Could you repeat the where and when the teaching on Shabbat is?
It's on Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. and it will be in the library.
Thank you.
If you attended the first part and you have a prayer book that you were using from the synagogue, please be sure to bring it with you. And if this is your first time there, I'll make sure there are some books available as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, just before Matt, Joel Jones. Joel?
I don't know if he knows he's unmuted. He's muted.
Unmute. Joel? Josh, can you step in instead?
Jerry, I can jump in if needed. Josh gave me an announcement as a plan B, just in case.
Go ahead, Lynn.
And so that is that the deadline for the order forms are actually being extended to Monday for the Cedars. And so if you are still thinking about what your plans are going to be, you have until Monday to decide. And so he just wanted me to make the announcement that there was an extension until Monday.
Where are the forms?
Hi. Well, hi, everybody. The magic of technology. Who doesn't love that? So Lynette and I are going to team up, and we're actually going to surprise, and you probably already said this, that we're extending the hours. And so Monday, we'll still be accepting your pre-order forms. We really want to just fill the room. And as a reminder, too, don't forget, families are invited. We haven't seen families in how long? The forms are in the foodie. And there's also bulk order forms for anyone who wants to take. And I dare you to take your families away. But if you need to spend time with your families away, there's bulk order forms available as well.
And Joel, this is Mark. Anna, there's also forms at the concierge desk as well if you want to fill them out there.
So just a reminder that we're anxious. We've been practicing our Huxameas. We're wanting to see families. So please come join us. It's going to be a great time. We've got great food, and you know it's going to be a great atmosphere. So don't be shy. Let's do a little Pesach together.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're on to you, Matt.
All right, hello everyone. So contrary to popular belief, I am not in a spaceship. I am in a conference center at a Leading Age, which is a nonprofit senior living association. So here I am, I'm in this giant conference room all by myself with you. So good to have you here. I was thinking every time somebody's stuck on mute and we have to say it, they should have to put $1 in either the appreciation fund or the scholarship fund. It'd be a good one. But all right, I want to start off today's conversation by acknowledging the incredible work that went into the scholarship event the other night. It truly was exceptional, from the scholarship committee to programming, housekeeping, and culinary. It was a wonderful event. I got to say, I got a little nervous in the beginning when the comedian got going. It seemed like we were going a little risque, but he turned it around pretty quick. But it was great to see the room full, and a shout out and a congratulations to the Dent Your Rent winners. And for those that don't know who it is, so you can congratulate them, the $500 winner was Raya Drebin. The $1,500 winner was Jay Fialco. And the grand prize winner of $3,000 was our very own Paul Travinsky. So it was really nice. As we all know, these are residents that have been in the community for a long time and are pillars of our community. And it was special to be able to, draw their names. So it was really cool. So congratulations to everybody involved. That was a really special community event. So thank you again. Moving on to the more familiar topic of COVID-19. We have 2 cases right now. I feel like I'm on repeat every single week. There's always 2 cases, it seems. One case is a carryover from last week, somebody who's still testing positive. The other one happened to have somebody in their vicinity that had COVID that they live with, and now they have it, but their partner no longer does. So not new exposures by any means, not new cases, but just carryover cases. And Jerry, if you're ready for me, I'm gonna do the usual share screen thing. Okay, let's see. So everybody work with me here, because the New York Times decided that they were going to change the format of this whole thing. So here we are. All right, here we are, as usual, Norfolk County. You can see over 2 weeks, we have had a decline in cases by 26%. Again, this is trending really, really well for our county. The same thing for hospitalizations, down 24%. I'm actually going to scroll up here because this map for the first time is showing something that I can't believe. They've changed the way they're showing the map, and they've correlated it to the CDC risk model, which is the risk of low, medium, or high. And you can see it up here. Okay, so if it's gray, the risk is low. And just follow my cursor here. In the middle, it's medium, and to the far right, if it's this orange color, it's high. The entire Commonwealth is in the low right now, which is really incredible. And what they've done, and I think it's a little less useful for our purposes, but you can see they don't give us the specific number on the map anymore, but they tell you that our COVID level is low. And you can see that that's the case for all surrounding areas. So as far as COVID in the Commonwealth, we're doing really well, which is great. As far as COVID at Newbridge on the Charles, we seem to be stuck at 2, no matter what happens. And but everybody's feeling okay. And with the vaccination and the therapeutics, I think we're handling this absolutely better than ever. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second. I want to change our attention a second for talking about the COVID-19 protocols that we're currently following on campus. I had a meeting last week with HSL's chief medical officer, who's Dr. Ernest Mandel. And Dr. Mandel is not only a tremendous practitioner, but a very good citizen and a great partner. And we'll have him on in the near future, and I think everybody will really enjoy getting to know him. But the meeting with Dr. Mandel was exceptional. And also in the room with us, we had a lot of the resident physicians that live at Newbridge, specifically Mike Ross, David Rosenthal, Bob Brown, myself, Dr. Mandel, and Victor Furtado. And we went through each protocol that's happening on the campus and talked about the merit of each protocol and whether it was still effective in terms of protecting our residents, and whether we needed to add protocols to continue to protect our residents. And where we landed, I'm going to go through point by point, but to make it easier for everybody, I've also put it in writing, and I'll share it on the screen. It's also going to be in my letter tomorrow, and I've also requested that it be sent out in a constant contact email. So that way we're just blanketing it everywhere so everybody knows. Now, before I get into it, as hard as this is, the risk for COVID-19 exists absolutely everywhere. And it's incumbent upon ourselves to make good choices to keep ourselves healthy. And as a leader of the community, I do feel responsible for making sure that everybody feels secure. But at the same point, there's a recognition that what's happening outside of the walls of Newbridge 19 is completely throwing what we do within Newbridge on its head. There's just no way that we can control what society is doing out around us. So here I go. I'm going to share again, and I'm going to open this up right here. And then we'll take questions, and I'll read this to you in my best movie voice. So a few small changes. So masks are no longer required to be worn in elevators or company vehicles. If you're concerned about COVID-19 safety in the elevators, please wait for the next elevator, or drivers will continue to wear masks when you're in a company vehicle. And if you think about the elevator one, I'll hear people say, you know, that's a confined space, that's concerning. But the reality is the elevators, number one, have fans, but number two, you have to be in an elevator next to somebody within 6 feet for 15 minutes for it to actually be considered an exposure. So when this started to come up early on, it made sense because why not take more precautions than necessary? Why not do our best to keep each other safe? The reality is nobody's really following this anymore, number one. And number two, it's not changing the outcomes. So that's the first one. The second one is masks are no longer required after returning from travel. All restrictions regarding dining after travel have also been lifted. We're all interfacing with many people outside of Newbridge, and the risk now exists regardless of travel. Now, we've had a lot of data to be able to identify if travel is causing a lot of cases. And the reality is, yeah, it is. However, it's not the travel itself. It's the visiting of family members and grandchildren that is causing the spread of COVID-19. And then you wrap into it the fact that everybody's outside of the community all the time and guests are coming in and employees. The risks truly are everywhere. And what's happening is we're alienating people that come back from a trip when they've been very careful and very safe. And so this restriction, although it worked really well for us for a long time, doesn't necessarily make sense for where we are today and what the pandemic is doing around us. Now, these bottom two are going to be very familiar because they haven't changed. This is basically back to basics. And it says, if you're exposed to COVID-19, please wear a mask in the community and refrain from communal dining for 5 days. Now, in this case, you know you've had a known exposure. This again is within 6 feet for 15 minutes or longer, according to the CDC. And at this point, you're hoping that your vaccination really kept you strong and your immune system is good and the airflow is good, and hopefully you're not going to get sick. And generally, people have gotten away without getting sick. We've been very lucky in that regard. But still, we want to make sure. And so we ask that you test on day number 6, because if you're going to show symptoms of COVID-19, it's likely very much going to be by day 6, and that way the test will pick up on it. After day 6, if you are symptom-free and you're negative, join the community again. And then finally, if you test positive for COVID-19, first off, I'm sorry, but isolate yourself, and the minute you test negative, you're welcome to join back in the community, or 11 days from your onset of symptoms. So that's runny nose, headache, fatigue, all the stuff that goes along with COVID-19 that we've all been trained to look for. As a reminder, please notify security if you test positive so they can begin the contact tracing process. And we are one of the last communities to do contact tracing. And a big shout out to Victor Furtado for putting in the time and the work and his team. It's been a very helpful tool for us in the community. That's why we want to know if you're COVID positive. A, so we can support you, and B, so we can support the residents who may have come in contact with you. So I'm sure there's a handful of questions related to this. The reality is, at some point as a community, we have to move forward, and this is where we are today. So I'm going to leave this up for a second just so people can read, and then I'm going to take it down in about 30 seconds. And Charlie, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, should I start now?
Go for it.
Okay, first of all, thank you for that very useful information. It's all logical. In your meeting with your medical professionals, I'm curious, has there been any talk about when we might be eligible or should consider additional boosters? Because there's a lot of articles about how we're moving to an annual basis.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if there's any update on that.
Everybody's waiting, Charlie, for the CDC to have a response in some regard. That's been the driver for what the vaccination schedule has been, and they haven't said anything about it yet. The latest information out there seems to be that if you contact COVID-19, your antibodies last about 10 months for solid protection. And so what they're trying to understand right now is that also the case with the vaccination? And I think as that becomes more clear, I think they'll line up a more consistent vaccination schedule.
Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome. Any other questions related to COVID-19? I know for some folks, this is going to be a tough one, and I can appreciate that. And lastly, what I'm going to say about this is, eventually we're going to move to a place, and I've been telling everybody, where employees will have their masks come off. We are one of the last in the industry, particularly in Massachusetts, to have our employees masking. What I'm trying to do is hold off until after the holidays. That way we can have our visitors here, we can have our guests, and we can manage things one step at a time, as opposed to just ripping off the Band-Aid all at once. And then regardless of what happens, I have to deal with the repercussions. So if I do this in a methodical manner, I can then assess the outcome and deal with each individual outcome, each piece at a time. So that's the approach, and that's the know why behind it. So I see Helene, you raised your hand.
Yes, we got back, I just want to clarify, we got back from a trip on Monday night, and I usually play Mahjong on Friday. I'd like to do that. So I can do that wearing a mask, and I don't have to test.
Yes, you can.
Okay,
Yes, you can. Good question.
thank you.
All right, absolutely. Karen. Karen, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, you're unmuted.
If someone does get COVID and has to go to the hospital, how would that happen?
So that comes down to calling for security and having security check on you to make sure you're okay, or through the outpatient clinic if you're a member, or your local physician. That would be the way that would take place. Remember, we have this phenomenal security department here, right on this campus. They can test you, and they can triage, and they can make the call if need be. Thank you for asking that question. Helene, I see you have your hand up.
Yes, when our visitors come, do they still have to check in at the front desk?
They do indeed. Right now, that policy still exists. We have a healthcare center here on campus. Part of Department of Public Health requires right now that people still check in. I had this question come up the other day. Somebody was looking for direct access to walk into the medical clinic, the outpatient clinic, through the sliding doors there when you walk in the vestibule. And the reason you still have to go around is because of Department of Public Health, and that happens to be in the healthcare building. So it'll be interesting on May 13th when the state draws down all of the COVID protocols to see what the Department of Public Health and the Executive Office of Elder Affairs does. Okay, Betty, I see your hand up.
Yeah, that makes me wonder, for the Seders and we have family coming, what is going to be the procedure for that?
The procedure is to remind everybody to make sure they haven't exposed to anybody and that they mask in the common areas as usual, like an employee would. When it's time to dine, they can take it off. But this is where the shift of responsibility starts to happen, where we ask all of you as residents to please have these conversations with your family members.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Toby Levine.
For Pesach?
Toby, you're on mute. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead and say it again, please, Toby.
Do our guests have to check in at the front desk when they come for Pesach?
Please. Please. That's important for two reasons. One is not only so we identify who's been in the building, but not for COVID purposes, but the other one is just safety. We're so cautious about safety, and we try to be cautious about who's in the building and who's not. And as much as we can control, we would like to in terms of understanding who is in the buildings.
Okay.
Thank you for that great question.
I've seen Helene Oppenheimer's hand up before, and it's now disappeared. Did you change your mind, Helene?
She talked.
Okay.
It's not unmuting. Yeah, I did talk.
Oh, okay.
And then the last thing I want to share with everybody, well, actually second to last, the very last will be very quick. I heard this concern over the weekend that there was no doctor on call in the clinic. And I just got to debunk that statement. There absolutely was indeed a doctor on call. I talked to Dr. Schuster and Linda Bleakney. As a reminder, if you belong to the outpatient practice and you need support after hours, you call the outpatient practice like you would as if it were opening hours. You will be put through to an answering service, and generally the doctor, whoever's on call, the HSL doctor, will call you back within 15 minutes. Now, these are the exact words from Dr. Schuster I'm going to share with you. The Newbridge on the Charles Medical Practice is open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. If you need to speak to a doctor after hours, please call the office 781-234-9600 or extension 4-9600. The answering service will pick up and they'll page the doctor on call. You should receive a call back within 15 minutes. If you do not belong to the medical practice, please contact your primary care office. All right, so I just wanted to clear that up for everybody because that's an important one. I want to make sure everybody has the access to the health when they need it. And the clinic works really hard to provide that. And so I just wanted to make sure everybody's on the same page there. And then lastly, just a reminder about something that I'm very excited about. Our new Associate Executive Director, Jessica Coleman, begins on Monday, April 3rd. You will see her absolutely everywhere. And so I'll be bringing her and introducing her in all our meetings together. And I'm looking forward to the help because hopefully it means I can get even more done, which would be really exciting. So that's it for me.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll see you next Thursday. Don't linger too long on the opening day of baseball or you'll miss the beginning of our Zoom. Have a good weekend.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks.